It is my understanding that there is a Speed Duel update. Apparently, 4 of the 5 skill cards in Speed Duel Tournament Pack 6 are being errataed. And before I begin, I'd just like to say that I really wish they'd stop erratating skills. It's one thing if you do it in a digital format such as Duel Links. It's another thing completely if you do it in real life, because people have to get the errata. And if people either don't have access to tournament packs at or an OTS store or something like that, a lot of the time you find out that people don't know skills got errated. And another thing is just, it's not fundamentally the same card. You build a deck around a skill card, and then all of a sudden they change the skill for better or for worse, and usually it's for worse, and then the deck fundamentally doesn't work anymore. Inner conflict is the biggest thing that comes to mind here, and while that card was ridiculous, in my opinion, you just banned them. Eventually, they will either be power creeped to the point where they're no longer relevant as they're written, or you just keep them banned. I don't like changing them. There's a better alternative, and that's just create a different skill, especially with the amount of skills that go into this game. There's so many irrelevant skills as it is. If you were going to errata the ones that are busted, you could errata all the terrible ones to make them relevant, but I don't suggest that, because it's not the same thing, right? This is just my take on it, and I don't want to go into a ridiculous long rant about errataing. There's been a lot of things that I haven't been comfortable with originally, like the Speed Duel ban list being the Duel Links ban list, that I've eventually, grown into, and I actually respect that list. I think it works better than a regular ban list. It's a little bit harder to keep up with, but once you learn it, the creativity in the game flows so much better, and it makes it so that cards aren't dead. And you could do that here as well. If you think something like Inner Conflict was OP, you could simply put it on the 1-ofs or the 3-ofs list or the 2-ofs list, like they've done here already with other skills, to prevent them from being so overly played. But instead, they just go and errata them, and a lot of the time the skills become completely irrelevant. Like Nightmare Sonic Blast for Serpent Knight Dragon would have been really cool had it just stayed the same with Carboneton in the game, and I feel like Carboneton was the reason they errated it. And guys, I'll be honest, I don't think it would have overtaken the game all that much. If anything, it would have made Nightmare Sonic Blast and Serpent Knight Dragon, an irrelevant card otherwise, pretty cool to play. But that's just my thing. That's my 2 cents. Let's go into this and hope that these 4 skills aren't getting destroyed. And I really hope Terrors from the Deep isn't on here, because if Water just got, quote-unquote, to be the highest of power level it ever has with Warrior of Atlantis, and then they're going to go errata my skill, I'm not going to be happy. I'm not going to be happy at all. All right, let's go in. Dragon Caller. Okay, I did not expect to see that here. Oh, but this is a good reprint in general, just because we haven't had it since, I think, the beginning. So I like to see it. So previously, its old text was if you successfully normal summon Lord of D, add a flute or summoning dragon from your deck or graveyard to your hand. And that was once per duel. And the other effect, you could do this instead, which is reveal a flute from your hand and then add a Lord of D from deck or grave to hand. Okay. If they modify this to make it worse, I'll be honest, it was already pretty bad. I hope they fix it. Once per duel during a main phase, activate one of these skills. Oh, I do like this too. If it's simply updating text to make it more clear, I have no problem with that. Just don't drastically change the effect. If you control Lord of D, so now it's not if you normal summon it successfully. Add a flute from your deck or graveyard to your hand. And the other effect is reveal one flute from your hand, then add Lord of D from deck or grave to hand. That stays the same fundamentally, yes. So it's just, they've changed successfully normal summon to control. And you know what? Something like this is perfectly fine in my book. You've just made it, you've slightly altered it, right? You haven't destroyed it completely, and if anything, it's kind of a buff, and I mean, the skill's still the same. I would have loved each effect to be once per duel personally, but I guess that goes against what I just said, because that would drastically change it. Control is a little bit nicer. It allows for a little more creativity, so to speak. You don't have to normal summon this. If you find a way to special summon it out of the deck, then you can add a flute. That's cool. I'm fine with that. So Dragon Caller gets a slight buff. Will it still see play? Probably not, but interesting nonetheless. they have a description. I like descriptions. This skill is being modified to work with the updated skills rules. Both Lord of D and Flute will be included in Tournament Pack 6, along with the powerful Tyrant Dragon. But yeah, I guess Tyrant has had a reprint since the beginning, so we could use... Oh, God. Oh, no. Alright, so it's not Terrors, guys, but it's a Yumi skill. Alright, previous text. If you control Legendary Fisherman, you can activate Yumi directly from your deck or grave. This can only be used once per duel. I'll be honest, compare this to Terrors. That should just say, like, if you control Legendary Fisherman, you can activate Yumi from deck or grave. Similar to how if you control Kiryu. Once per turn, when Legendary Fisherman you control destroys a monster by battle and inflicts damage to your opponent, battle damage to your opponent, you can special summon a level 4 or lower water from your deck or grave in defense. Was changed to a paragraph. Why is it a paragraph? Once per duel, if you control a Legendary Fisherman, you can activate Yumi directly from your deck or grave. That is the same thing. Once per turn, at the end of your battle phase. Oh, okay. So at the end of the... So it doesn't happen now when Fisherman kills something, which is probably good, because you can't chain to skills. Yeah, no, this is just safer the way it's set up. If Legendary Fisherman you control destroys a monster by battle or inflicts battle damage to your opponent this turn, you can special summon a level 4 lower water from your deck or grave in defense. Yep, okay. I like that it says end of battle phase. This is something where, like, this is a good update in my opinion. You didn't fundamentally... you slightly change it, but it doesn't, like... It's the same thing still. It's worded better so that, you know, you can follow it better with the updated skills and blah, blah, blah. And also, it clarifies more things. At the end of battle phase is good because it won't interact as much with other cards and effects after something dies by battle and inflicts battle damage. So, you know, you don't have to deal with that. Yep, I'm cool with this. Maybe it's slightly better. I'm not sure. I really don't see it. No more Mrs. Nice. Why? This didn't really do a whole lot to begin with. I don't know how you change this. Once per turn, when your monster inflicts battle damage to your opponent, destroy a spell or trap on the field. So, like, if in case they had no spell or traps on the field, after you inflict battle damage, you're forced to pop one of your own spell or traps. That was like its downside. I thought that was a justifiable skill. Once per turn, at the end of the battle phase. Oh, okay. Well, if it's at the end of the battle phase, yeah, then it doesn't conflict with other things. If a monster you control inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can destroy. No way. Now it's optional. That's scarier. That's so much better. There's no downside to this anymore. What's keeping us from playing this over the Joey skill? It negates the trap and resets it, but this one destroys any spell or trap? I don't know. This seems really good. Joey gives 100 though, I guess. I don't know. This seems nuts. This seems nuts now. Am I overthinking this? This is just MST every turn if you inflicted battle damage. Every deck has Amazon as Sage now. You know, probably nothing will come from this because the skill was already decent, in my opinion, and no one ever played it. I only cited it and stuff. I didn't even really main it. So, I don't know. The ability to optionally destroy a spell or trap, though, is crazy. It still doesn't target. It's a skill, though, so it's not like they can chain. I feel like this is really good. That's scary that it became optional. Wait a minute. Don't do this. Alright, so this skill's run the game for a bit. But I don't think it's as cancerous as something like Inner Conflict or Twisted Personality was. I don't even think Akun of Ultra Evolution should have ever got Errata, that skill. I don't think there was anything wrong with that you could use both effects on the same turn. I also don't think it needed the summoning restriction that it has on it now. I don't think there was a problem with that skill. If people had a problem with it, then they should have just put it on the list like they did, but they errated it and put it on the list, making it basically irrelevant, which I just don't think was necessary. But this, every turn you get to negate the first trap they set. That is kind of ridiculous. So I can understand that being buffed. The 100 attack is 100 attack. Like, I feel like that's just the upside to this skill. So let's see what they did. Yeah, previously it was during a main phase you can make a monster you control gain 100 attack until the end of the turn, and then during your battle phase, when your opponent activates a trap, you can negate it and reset it. They have changed it. Oh god, it's once per duel? Whoa, wait, the 100 attack is once per duel? Once per duel, during your main phase, you can make one monster you control gain 100 attack until the end of the turn. Also, both effects are in the same? During the battle phase this turn, negate the opponent's first trap card or effect that resolves and set it instead of this. It's the same effect now. You could have left the 100 attack gain perfectly as it was every turn. I don't think that's the upside to it, right? That's the point of the skill. If you had changed the battle trap thing to once per duel only, you changed both though. Oh my god. I don't know. Ever since anti-magic arrows got revealed, I felt like this skill kind of goes to the back burner anyway, because then anyone that has anti-magic arrows essentially shuts off everything their opponent activates anyway. It just, it says they can't activate. So like that was like the balancer to this card being a thing. And then anti-magic arrows lets you free up the skill slot so you don't have to play this card, so you could play a different skill. But now, I really don't think anyone's going to play this skill. Well, what's the point? Why would you play this? No, there's just no point anymore. If it was once per duel and it negated the trap and didn't set it back to the field, then maybe? And even then, I don't know. This one just seems way better now. Oh, guys. Oh, they killed this. They killed this. And I'm all for seeing more creativity in the game and less of this card for sure, but I just don't agree with this. This is the literal definition of what I don't agree with in errataing skills. I know they took a survey at the beginning of, 3 or 4 years ago, and asked the Speed Duel community, what would you rather see, than ban skills or errata skills, and I'm sure errata skills won, because if it didn't, they wouldn't be doing this still, but, ugh.
Most of the world doesn't share your opinion, Mr. Wayne.
This skill's dead. This skill's dead. Sure, Agumo the deck was already basically dead, but now this skill's just super dead. Oh, you know what this means, though? Shoutouts already for Duel for this awesome graphic, by the way. This means we're definitely due for another update. I mean, we were anyway. This is April. This is right when the Shadow Box came out. And if they've been doing that, then it will be right after this box comes out. But this card has no reason to even be here anymore. So that means we're going to get a new list. They killed this skill. They 100% killed this skill. We'll have to do a separate video on where I think the banned and limited list should go. I'll be honest, though, I really like this list for the most part. Alright, guys, let me know in the comments down below where you're at in general on erratas with skills. And also, if you disagree with me, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'm down for the conversation. But the other thing is just, they killed this. They just killed it completely. It's just dead. This is nuts. I don't know. I just feel like this card's crazy now. I guess we'll have to mess around with it. This fundamentally doesn't change. It's just corrected wording, which is fine with me. And this doesn't care if you normal summon Lord of D anymore, which I'm for that. I wish it was once per duel each effect, but, I guess it is what it is. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video.
For more amazing Speed Duel content, subscribe to Yuki Bros. It's time to duel!